Oh, right. What's going on, everybody? I'm off of work. I almost forgot my dinner appointment, and I was about to go into the gym, and so then I got the text being like, "Hey, you still coming?" I was like, "Oh shit, I knew I forgot something." So I'm heading up to eat with my friends, and thought I would have a little bit of a chit chat. I've been thinking as I've been, you know, I keep a tertiary awareness of things like politics, because at the end of the day, how politics manifests is a sign. You know, it's just like I take politics and a lot of the attitude of the state, if you will, which is kind of what politics is the attitude of the state, as a kind of its own augury. You know, it's not. You know, it's just. I'll put it to you this way. Things were going to happen, technically, no matter what, in 2016. Things were going to happen no matter what. Because of the nature of the relationship that the state has with the people. Not the relationship that the people have with the state, but that the state has with the people. Do you catch my drift? Right? The state has to do things a certain way to get away with the murder that it wants to do. And the reason why 2016 through 2020 went down the way that it went down is ultimately because the state had to get a bunch of shit done that they couldn't get done because there was no trust, no credibility, no respect, no hope, no this, no that, on the real unconscious level that had, like, bubbled up in the opposing side to the left's paradigm, right? And of course, the threat of small government was not going to fly, as people were more and more and more in love with their dependency and trying to bleed everyone else who was earning to make sure that there was a sustainable form of compassion for those who were not earning. And the idea, because we never want there to be slavery, is that working is a privilege and not a right, or something like that. It's kind of, you know, it's just like slavery, right? It's just like, if you make your system based on the idea that you gotta work to earn, you know, to earn anything, right? But the reason why that is better is because the other side of the argument is, no, you don't have to work for anything. We'll give it to you. But the point is that somebody had to work to give it to you. And so you're actually enslaving other people by the merit that you don't want to be a slave, because you're operating a zero-sum game, right? And so, you know, that's a recipe for disaster amongst the, I wouldn't even say it's the far left and the far right. This is like the hard left and the hard right, right? The far left and the far right are malleable. They go through different modalities of the expression of their deeper values. And please let me know in the chat if the noise is too much, because then I'll do this another time and talk about these kinds of things. But let me know in the chat, because I do see 3 people here. Appreciate your presence. So the hard left and the hard right, as far as that's held in the body politic, because this isn't about even the politicians, this is about the body politic. This is about the actual persons that are not the elite, but they are the ones that the elite are tapping as a resource towards their ends. You know, the people, the various true believers. And so the hard left and the hard right are the establishment that has their extremities, their far left, their far right, and then you got their center left and their center right, and those 4 between the 2 kind of fluctuate back and forth a little bit to make it look like the far side or the rational side towards the center is about to, like, take charge and fix problems. And then it never happens, because people are thinking on a very poor spectrum. And so when a politician is lying to you, they only tell you the lie that you want to tell yourself. Right? They're looking at the lie that you want to tell yourself, and that's how it works. And, you know, that's how you get somebody like a Mitch McConnell, who's hard right, not far right. Right? And the guys that are hard right and hard left, they're all socialists anyway. They're all Fabian socialists. And they play off of each other. They do this very consciously, because behind closed doors, they all are talking about, man, is that really the lie you're going to tell the American public? You know what happened a year ago. It's like that, right? That's what it's like, you know? There's many aspects of the nature of the beast without getting the truth of the beast that you would have seen in the original seasons of House of Cards, right? And then everybody's just like, yeah, without Kevin Spacey, House of Cards sucked. And it's just like, I didn't watch it, but I guarantee you, it didn't suck because Kevin Spacey wasn't in it. I mean, unless Kevin Spacey was probably a producer or something, right? At the end of the day, it's because what was going on behind Kevin Spacey, behind the show, is what worked. The writers and the production and the direction of the show and everything else, right? And then all of that got fucked up because all of a sudden Kevin Spacey finds himself through the looking glass, where I mean, like, you'll notice Kevin Spacey's kind of like, it's just like, what does any of the facts of the matter matter? Is he in jail? Has he been, is he completely out of work? Is he really suffering? Like, no, he's fucking fine. He's fucking fine. All the woke companies, yeah, they have their losses, but they're all fine. Bud Light is back because they went for a fucking reversal, and everybody's like, great, Bud Light doesn't suck cock anymore. No, they still suck cock. They go both ways. Don't you understand how transsexual works? So Bud Light is just being transsexual. It's like a woman, it's changing its mind on a whim. Sorry, ladies. Anyway, my point is that go woke, go broke is just a fucking thing that makes the center left and the center right people, or well, the center right people in particular, the more populist movement types. You know, I love Salty Cracker, he's fun. But, you know, he's super guilty of that. What's up, DN? Good to meet you, DN. But the point is that you know, these companies are still here. What was the shaving? Was it Gillette that did the same kind of thing? Gillette's still here. Still plenty of their freaking products on the shelves. Because their product doesn't actually reflect their fucking marketing. Like, they didn't change the flavor of Bud Light. They didn't change the design of the razor blade, right? They didn't actually change these things. Okay, there we go. All right, with the weather being bad and me driving, hopefully this doesn't kill the live stream. Anyway, what was I saying? Hollywood is just outright, like, up to its asshole in Mockingbird talking points, right? You know? So when it's going woke, it's just like, don't worry about the losses. We'll cover it. Your investors are going to be pissed, but you as a company will be fine. As soon as your fucking stock tanks, we got a guy who's ready to buy up the company. You just keep pumping out garbage. And I sincerely believe that's what's going on with most of Hollywood, is that they said, don't worry, you're going to tank your stock. Your investors are going to fucking hate you. But when they sell, we got buyers, and then you can rebound with good shit. But you're going to fucking push that fucking rainbow shit down everybody's throat. That's what you're going to fucking do. Right? So that's what's happening. That to me feels very obvious, because, you know, you can talk about what they're doing with their bottom line and the investors and the fact that they're still doing it, yada, 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 and make a superficial point about a conspiracy that's keeping these things propped up, right? But, you know, let's like really like look at it, because do not act like these companies are ever going to go away, right? They might work on a reduced budget, but that reduced budget is mostly just because it's still serving its purpose. It's still making the masters happy. Like, look, as human beings, we're always going to be looking for theater and things like that. And there's always going to be somebody who's going to make the new successfuls, who's going to try and rope them in with deals. They're going to try and rope them in on a human level. They're going to be like, come on, bro, let's go get some hookers and blow, right? Whatever. And there's a deficit right now of quality people in all of those industries because they've alienated the quality people for people that are willing to go with that, to lower their standards. And they don't want you to have an inspiration, and thus they don't want you to ever understand business for yourself, to understand production for yourself, so that way you can just replace them through hard work. Through hard work and what is already available resources and talents to be acquired or to figure out unto yourself. You have to operate from a certain plan, from a certain mindset, from a certain desire, right? The reason why I'm not a successful musician is because I, A, had a lot of that ass backwards, and B, you know, I'm discovering way more problems with myself that are the exact kind of problems that don't make you successful as a performing artist. And you can beat yourself up for feeling like a fool for how many years of your life you've wasted because you wanted to be doing things this, super awesome on the stage, and you wanted to be doing them at like 26 years old or something. And you had no support from family, but you needed support from family to live, but it wasn't ideal support for your music, and you just didn't know how to reconcile it, right? Like, that's my struggle. That struggle is only a conspiracy in the sense of the agenda of how you raise a child, which is then also mixed with the traditional values coming out of the culture that I was born into. And it's all tough, right? It's all tough stuff, because as a wee one, you're what the heck do you know about a thing or two when you're on the impulse of the moment? And me, I'm, if there's anything one can say is like the years that you have no agency are really the time where one can sit there and look at somebody's chart and see them acting according to their chart, right? Because first couple of years, there's very little progression on your chart. You're going to always act like your natal moon. You're always going to act like your natal sun, yada, 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 right? I'm 44 years old. My sun is in Gemini in my progressed chart. I'm supposed to have matured into a Gemini from being an Aries by this point in my life. That's part of the idea of astrological progression, the refinement, right? So naturally, astrology is going to make less and less sense to you as you get older, as you, before you pulled away from your original self, if you will, and integrate your reflections upon the return of a planet in your chart, and just the progression that it's at upon each solar return. So not everybody needs to, or is the pathwork for using astrology to deal with the body politic, right? Which is why I brought this up, is because, I'm being an example of circumstances in my life compared to who I am as a person, relating to my karma and struggling with my karma. And it's a struggle because the karma is always opposite the dharma. And so you can't fulfill your purpose unless you've resolved your karma. And this is why you take note of the south node versus north node of the moon. All right, so the reason why the body politic is toxic, anathema, an enemy, is because, people that allegedly are supposed to be good neighbors of ideological difference, practically, right? That's kind of the way the American idea is that your neighbor's on the red, and your other neighbor's on the blue, and you're on the blue. You got another neighbor who's kind of in the purple zone, et cetera, right? It's working. There's a lot's working away. Good money, but you never home to. Yeah. You never home to see them. Right, exactly. I wasn't working hard. I wasn't I had a hard time making the time for the music, and really got no one to blame for myself. Because I kind of had too many little personal entertainments that I wanted to fulfill. I gotta make sure I catch the rest of this TV show. I gotta make sure I catch. I gotta finish Final Fantasy X, man. I got 10 more hours before I get to the final boss, and then I want to do some of the side quests, right? And then of course I'm surrounded by people that, enable that. They're like, oh man, have you played FF10? And you want to talk about FF10? I wasn't around enough people that wanted to talk about metal. And I also, because I wasn't working hard, I wasn't going to detach myself from the family. I wouldn't know how to survive going down into the city. Plus, I didn't want to be in the city. And like, I was just like, oh man, like, the best I'm going to be able to afford is a roach hotel. Oh my god, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be around this. This looks very unhealthy. Just like I have enough awareness of taking care of myself, right? I had wisdom about like poison, like things I didn't want to do because I felt like it was impure or whatever. Things I didn't want to be associated with because I thought it wasn't cool, and the Metal Rebellion was helping me forge my identity by saying no to all these things that gave me stress and anger and tension, or was wrong, or was trying to groom me into a man I didn't want to be. Right? And then here I am. You get older, you start seeing the effects of the body politic as government starts doing things that really kind of hurt you, in a sense, right? Because of inflation, because of regulations changing the existence of jobs, because the way they manufacture parts for a thing. Now I've got stuff that's of inferior quality or more maintenance hassle, like new cars versus old cars, and all these extra problems that waste time of you just keeping up with all the basic utilities to have a functional life in the world that you know. And the only world that you know how to function in. And trying to hit that success so you can go and function in a world you really want. And not knowing how ass backwards you are, and how much, maybe you were just supposed to have the integrity to go homeless or something. And in a couple of cases, I felt like I had the integrity to go homeless because I resisted changing in certain ways and was doing things in certain ways where I got kicked out, for bringing trouble. For bringing trouble that I wasn't thinking about. Hey, what's up, QSB? And so, how are you, when you're such a problem yourself, supposed to influence others? How are you supposed to be impressive? How are you supposed to wield your own will? Where's your fucking magic? Where's your wand? Where's the fire? Right? And so, you have to downplay very severe faults that people can use against you in any argument, including people that you think are your friends, but would rather make a mockery of you for having ideas that they really don't like. And they'll make a mockery of you in particular, because they don't have a good fucking answer. They just want you to shut up. And, they can take the wind right out of your fucking sails, because you're gonna need to have confidence to do this. Confidence stems from your sense of self, which is the energy force of your ego, your personality, your persona. And the authenticity of your persona, the integrity of your persona. And to know that it's okay to have a persona, and not because everybody else also has a persona. But because you've done the work to where that persona is yours. You forged it. You put yourself fucking together. And the only way you're going to do anything is put yourself out there. You're just looking at other people putting themselves out there, and that's why you're supportive of them. That's why you went, you bought their product, got their service, learned their lessons. And so, when you're in this position where you don't have the ability to be Mr. Leader, to be Mr. Breaking Point, or any of these things, this is when you must just go in and you gotta work and focus on yourself, and you have to first set your mind straight to have a standing of who you are. You're not going to be able to move forward if you don't know where you're standing, and if you don't know how to stand firm and properly. Both feet firmly rooted to the ground, and then being able to get your bearings straight, pick your direction, find your true north. And then as that happens, your influence takes hold because you begin to command more and more respect. People listen to you, things make sense. Your thoughts are more refined, and without compromising your integrity, without holding on to foolish ideas and thoughts that you had before, you now have more influence in a more productive manner to establish your own authority. And then there will be time to time where you walk into a situation and you realize you walked into a world where everybody is really looking at you. And everybody just is, it's almost like you've been appointed king for 5 minutes. It's like, Broski, we got a problem. We need your help. What do we do? Right? It's like, oh wow, yeah, I actually hear X, Y, and Z. Wow, thank you for asking. I've been waiting to tell somebody that for fucking 10 years. You're the first person to ever fucking ask me, and I get to share my answer and solve your problem. Oh God, that feels good. Hey, look at that. My heart's all aflutter, like I've fulfilled a life purpose or something, right? You know, it's the feeling. You know, musician gets on stage, plays the song, the people move and are happy about it. You know, or whatever emotion they're supposed to be that you're invoking in them. So, this is the way that works. Right? So, you've got a whole lot of people that are feigning having their shit together. And a whole lot of people that are not particularly feigning that they have their shit together, but that they only have their shit together because their dependencies are in line, right? The Social Security check is coming in. The royalty check is coming in. The investment that you made 20 years ago is coming through. None of these things mean that you got your shit together. It just means that you are surviving or bringing in money. And that's all that means. How you spend it, how you save it, and everything else, that's a whole other story. You know? There's a reason why they got all those documentaries back in the 90s from VH1, like Where Are They Now and shit. Talking about, like, people from, like, the 80s. Or was it? That show might have been, like... Yeah, no, I think they covered the 70s and the 80s, but where are they now? But my point is that, like, all those guys that had airplanes and mansions and shit, and, like, it's the story of, look at these fools who weren't paying attention to their business contracts, had no wherewithal about how the world changes, couldn't believe, like, you know, like, they blame the record label for, like, fucking them over or something like that, turning the fans against them when the record label could have been more supportive, yada, yada, yada. When the truth is that, like, the era had switched over, and you never fucking, like, became your own thing in your own right. You were just always playing on their level, and now you're famous and not getting paid for it. And in order to justify your existence because you're famous, you have to, like, whore yourself out to, like, weird things, working entirely off of the who you were, right? You know? And so that's where you got all of these sad stories about these guys, right? Because, you know, like, none of them could, all of them were like man-childs. Didn't know how to fucking take care of themselves. Every single fucking one. A man-child. Chicken Guy 368. To remember me? In what context? What did I say that's about you being remembered? I would have to have a memory of you to in the first. To remember means I have to bring the memory back. If I don't know you, then we don't have a memory. And I've never seen you, Chicken Guy 368. So establish a memory with me, and then I will remember you next time. Okay. So, you know, these guys, they never learned how to do anything else. Really, right? You know, they didn't learn how to be a welder. You know, they didn't have any kind of backup, and they couldn't believe the situation they found themselves in. And it took them a hot minute to realize that merely the world changed. And it's hard to think because it's not like all the people that went to their concerts last year died, right? It's just that they lost interest for various reasons, and it's just the world, and you can't blame them. We had a talk in your last lives. We did? What, on Heidegger or something? Were you Chicken Guy 368? Did you change? I don't remember a Chicken Guy. I honestly don't remember. Are you trying to gaslight me? Are you trying to gaslight me? Are you trying to tell me something didn't happen as a Mandela effect? Because that's not a Mandela effect. That's just you gaslighting. So I'm sorry, I don't remember Chicken Guy. I really don't remember you. You gotta leave a better impression or something. What did you say? I mean, you maybe leave it in the comments section. I actually have to get off because I gotta go pay attention to my GPS now because I'm approaching my exit. And I want to make sure that I make the right turn at Albuquerque. I'll catch you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and just remember, the cover-up is never worse. It's never worse than the crime.